Now, the National Party has been dealt a blow. Fresh from riding high in the polls, the party's losing its senior MP and finance spokesperson Simon Bridges, who is quitting politics after 14 years. For more on this, we're joined this morning by National Party leader Christopher Luxon. Good morning, and you're not in your office. You're out. You've been released from isolation.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm back at work this week, which is fantastic. But good morning to you all. Good morning, Tom. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, Christopher, the news yesterday that Simon Bridges was resigning, stepping down, that's a big loss to you, given your State of the Nation speech has just kind of focused a lot on finance and policies that Simon Bridges had come up with in the form of the tax cuts. So, had you tried to convince him to stay?
Yeah, look, I mean, Simon's one of my good friends. We've known each other before I even came to politics. And so, yeah, he's going to be a big loss and we're going to miss him tremendously. But, you know, I understand his reasons for going. You know, he's done 14 years in this place. It's pretty full on. He's a young guy. You know, he's still 45. He wants to have another career in the commercial world. For what it's worth, I think he's going to be absolutely outstanding at it. So, yeah, he's a big loss for us. And but I fully understand. I just wish him well because he's been such a good, you know, like when you think about his record, right, he's been a great champion of Tauranga for 14 years. He's been a really good senior minister in the John Key Bill English government. He's been a leader of this party and he's been a really effective finance opposition spokesperson as well. So, yeah, no, top guy, really talented guy. He's going to do really well. You know, it's sad to be losing him, but he's really just a good guy and we wish him really all the very best.
Who's in your sights for the new finance spokesperson?
Well, we'll be announcing that this morning, so you just have to wait till then. But, you know,
when?
We've got some great
You can announce it now if you like.
No, we're going to announce it in a few hours' time, but in fairness to everybody, and we'll make sure we do it properly. But we've got a good plan there, and we've got some really great, talented people, and I feel excited about how we'll be able to manage it going forward.
OK, and a by-election coming up in Tauranga. Now, Winston Peters has reportedly said it was a fascinating question when asked if he would run there. How do you fancy your chances against a comeback from Winston Peters if that were to happen?
Well, look, I think we're going to have a great candidate emerge in Tauranga. It's a great seat. We've already been, over summer, we've been reached out by lots of different people who are interested in, you know, exploring candidacy in the National Party, which is fantastic. So I think we'll have a great candidate. We'll work really hard, and I think we're going to win it.
And when will we hear who that candidate is?
That'll be in the next few weeks. There's obviously a process to go through that the local electorate and the party goes through to select a good candidate, and that process just takes a few weeks to work our way through it.
OK. Good news this week for New Zealanders who are saying that this is a cost of living crisis. They've obviously had the 25 cents off their fuel. Now, that's not forever, but 25 cents does work out to be, you know, people are going to keep more from that than they would from the proposed tax cuts, which could range from $2 to $20. So would you keep those tax cuts on the fuel at 25 cents?
Well, the first thing I'd say is I think you guys did a great job over the last week because you had a government that, frankly, wasn't admitting that there was a cost of living crisis, and then the next week they definitely were all in on it, which is great. And, you know, what we're seeing from this government is they react, you know, to media, to opposition and to the public, really, on these issues. So, yeah, look, from our point of view, you know, it's you know, the petrol tax tweak is good relief. It's going to be some relief. But what we're dealing with here is a much wider cost of living challenges. And that, as you've seen, it's not just at the pump, it's also with food being up 13%, it's also with rents being up $150 a week. And so there's a whole raft of actions that are really needed by this government to make sure we really deal with what's a very broad set of challenges that's driving this cost of living crisis.
Your plan to cut the regional fuel tax, which is 10 cents per litre for Auckland, wouldn't have been as much as this 25 cent cut. So I know this is only for 3 months, that's what the government has said in the meantime, but 10 cents is just doesn't cut it quite as much when you're saying that there's still a cost of living crisis. So would you match that? Would you stay with the 25 cents?
Well, look, I mean, as I said, I think this is giving some relief, you know, in the petrol tax space, which is important. You know, there's a number of ideas about how you go about doing that and what's the best way to deal with that. But as I said, the bigger issue is that there's a lot of things going on in this broader economy that we have to lift our sights up and say, well, what is driving this cost of living crisis? And there's a lot that's, you know, happening to it. So, you know, petrol's a piece of it, but certainly, you know, food is a challenge, rents are a challenge, and as I said to you, some sort of broad-based, you know, inflation-adjusted tax threshold relief for everyone is actually, I think, a really good idea of very quickly being able to get cash to people to be able to navigate the crisis too.
And so how would you keep food prices down? How would you make the sector more competitive?
Well, look, I mean, you've seen a report come out, looking at the competitiveness within supermarkets, and that's been important. It's heading in the right direction. I think there's two things there that are quite interesting, having worked in that sector myself in the UK and seen some of those changes being implemented there. A code of conduct actually sounds like it may not have enough teeth, but actually it could work really well if it's done right.
Does it actually bring prices down, though? Does a code of conduct actually result in lower prices for consumers?
Yeah, in the UK, the experience, we've had very, very dominant retailers over manufacturers of food products. When you've got a good code of conduct, and also when you have a sort of an independent regulator or ombudsman type role, that's been really important. And those two features came through in the review here. So they're positive steps in the right direction. But again, if a government's just going to hold it on, the reason we've got high food prices is because, we haven't actually, we've got competition in the supermarket industry is a problem. It's a piece of it, but it's not all of it. Here's a good example, right? We actually need to collect a harvest here in New Zealand. We didn't bring in the 200 professional workers that go all around the world following harvest seasons till it was too late. And so we're not going to collect all of our harvest this year. As a result, we'll have some supply shortages and prices will go up. So, it's those little micro actions that the government has to take that actually add up to sort of managing an issue or helping an issue like that.
National Party leader Christopher Luxon. Christopher, thanks for your time and enjoy your time back at work this week.